Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam boirei mini mezonos.
Where's Colin? Ready to join your team.
Oh yes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akom v'dvarim. Okay. A special thing for tonight, we're learning the Maimah Basi Legani. You know, it's like this Kvius, the Frierdiker Rebbe passed away in Shabbos. He left on his desk. He left a Maimer with 20 chapters. The Rebbe said that this was a tzavah, this was the spiritual will from the Frierdiker Rebbe. For the next 20 years, the Rebbe was busy every year explaining one chapter in the Maimer. And the Rebbe, in the most brilliant way, weaved into every single Maimer a Torah from the Baal Shem Tov, the Maggid, the Alter Rebbe, the Mittel Rebbe, Tzemach Tzedek, Rebbe Menashe, Rebbe Rashab. Thank you.
Thank you, Barrett.
The Maimer was usually said on Yud Shvat. No, soon. The Maimer was usually said on Yud Shvat, and there were usually Hechem Sheikh. The Shabbos after, the Matzah Shabbos was usually 2-3 Maimer. It's for example, and this year, if you look, the Rebbe wrote himself always a note. I don't know how these guys got it. Here is a copy. You don't see it in that booklet. Here is a note. Every year the Rebbe wrote a note for himself, a note where he had what he's going to talk about. And if you notice closely, Baal Shem Tov underlined Magid, Admir Zokan, Admir Tzedek, Tzemach Tzedek, Admir Marash, Admir Neshmos Yeiden. See, underlined, you see? And then Amar Amakim to each one of the places he's going to talk about. This year, it's Pedic 15. We're on a fourth cycle. And Pedic 15. And the Alter Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe says that there's the foot soldiers, and the foot soldiers get the treasures. The king wants to win the war. He desperately wants to win the war. So therefore, is mevazvez the oitzeres, he gives all the treasures to the foot soldiers.
Treasures to the wall.
Gold, silver, copper, everything.
Expense of the wall.
Yeah. So, what is the treasure? The Frierdiker Rebbe says that the Zohar says, "Chubrichu lamay aden kates lamata mata aden tachlis." Last year, he explained what does it mean mata aden tachlis. This year, he explains what does it mean lamay aden kates. So, what's the problem? When we say the Eibishter, it goes down mata. Wow, the Eibishter goes down lower and lower. But what does it mean the Eibishter goes higher? What does it mean the Eibishter goes higher? It's Chinese. What does it mean the Eibishter goes higher? Higher what? Higher what? What does it mean the Eibishter goes higher? Higher where? So therefore, the Frierdiker Rebbe teaches that when the Zohar says Lamay Laden Kates, he's talking about the Tzimtzum. Oh, we fell into the Tzimtzum. So the Alter Rebbe came along and publicized Akidush from the Baal Shem Tov. The Arizal came and said that there was a oir veloy hoyo mokem la hoyo oir hoshut veloy hoyo mokem la midas oilmas. There was a huge, awesome light, and there was no place for the world. There was no place. The Eibishter was mitzamtzim. He was mitzamtzim himself. That's the chidush of the Arizal. The Eibishter was mitzamtzim himself. What does it mean the Eibishter was mitzamtzim himself? I was taking pictures by my daughter's wedding. The guy said, "Oh, your belly is a little too big." I don't like this. I was mitzamtzim myself. I said, "It's good? It's good? No, a little more." So that's called tzimtzum kipshute. That's called tzimtzum kipshute. What does it mean that the Eibishter was mitzamtzim himself? So there was a huge machloikis about this, and therefore there was a huge split between Siddim and Snagdim. It wasn't just the issue of the tzimtzum was a huge issue. The Alter Rebbe said, if you think that the Rebbeinu Shalom is more in the base medish than in the toilet bowl, then you're off the wall. The Eibishter is everywhere. Leis asar poni minei means kipshute. The Misnagdim went crazy. You mean that the Rebbe Shalom is in the bathroom, in the toilet when I pull down my pants? So the Siddur said, what do you think? You believe in Hashgacha Pratis? The Eibishter is here? How does he know what's going on if he's not here? They said, no, he's peeking through the hole. They said, it's not nice to say that Rebbe Shalom peeks through the hole in the bathroom. Very not nice to say that about the Rebbe Shalom. So it was back and forth. This was the big issue. This was the big issue. What is the tzimtzum? So there's two big questions in the tzimtzum. When the Barizal said tzimtzum, did he mean kipshutoi? Kipshutoi? He actually took that oil and he went. He reined it in, or it's lav kipshutoi. It means not what you think. He camouflaged it. He said the oil should be there, but we can't see it. That's question number one. Question number two is when we said there is a tzimtzum, is the tzimtzum in the oil or in the ma'or? What does it mean? Chinese? Oil, ma'or, what does it mean? There is a ma'or, the source of light. There's oil, the light itself. An example, the sun is a ball of gases, and that's called a ma'or, the physical thing called the sun. Then there's light that goes millions and billions of miles, that travels. There is a ma'or, and then there is a oil. The Eibishter made the ma'or agodel, and he made a oil. There's a ma'or and a oil. So there is the Eibishter himself, which is the ma'or, the source of everything, atzmus, the Eibishter, the etzem, that sometimes we call ma'or, and then there's the oil, the light that shines out of it. So when we say there was a tzimtzum, where was the tzimtzum? In the ma'or or in the oil? The Alter Rebbe said that the tzimtzum was only in the oil, not in the ma'or. The Alter Rebbe said that even little children know there's an Eibishter. The most brilliant human being and the simplest child know and understand equally in the ma'or. Just like the child understands zero in the ma'or, the most brilliant human being that'll ever live will understand zero in the ma'or. The whole difference is in the oil. Then Atzilus, they understand more, and Bria, they understand less. Smart people understand more, children understand less. In the oil, there's a difference. The ma'or, everyone knows him equally. Varei Shem Shemaim Shogel B'fikol, the Alter Rebbe said. Even little children know there's an Eibishter. But to quantify what, when, to see him, to explain him, that's already oil. But the ma'or is everywhere. So, what's the difference if the ma'or is everywhere? What's the difference? What difference does it make? It makes a huge difference. That when we say that the Eibishter, Hashem is here, Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere. Up, up, down, down, right, left, and all around. What does it mean? What does it mean? So according to the Alter Rebbe, it means kipshutei. The ma'or is everywhere. Kipshutei, kipshutei, kipshutei. And therefore it behooves us in a very strong way. I want to read with you, as I said, I have a treat for tonight before we start the Maimer. There was a very choshev Yid that lived in England. His name was Rav Dessler, Rav Elio Dessler. Rav Elio Dessler asked the Frierdiker Rebbe, he wants to learn Chassidus. At that, the Frierdiker Rebbe sent, this was before the Second World War.
Is that Chovat al-Levot? Dessler?
At that time, it was in England. And at that time, Rebbe the Masmed, who was a very devout chassid of the Frierdiker Rebbe, was in England. The Frierdiker Rebbe asked that Rebbe should spend a couple of weeks and learn chassidus with Rebbe Leo Dessler. Rebbe wrote a letter saying he learned with him chassidus, and lo and behold, Rabbi Dessler discovered something awesome. Awesome. Here, chassidim, misnagdim, tzimtzum, shutei. He discovered that the world is flat. So there's never a machloikis. He made shalom in all the shittas. He wanted to share his discovery with the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who was then a young man, son-in-law of the Frierdiker Rebbe, to discover this unbelievable discovery. The Rebbe wrote back a very, very strong letter saying that I'm surprised to hear that Reb Dessler thinks that he knows a little bit of Kabbalah, because anyone that thinks that he knows even one word of Kabbalah would not say that the world is flat. There is very, very stark machloikus about it from the first generation after the Arizal. And the Rebbe goes through the four basic shittas in the Tzimtzum. So let's read it quickly. Page 470. Yeah, sure. Page 470. You got it? Masha kosa binyan tzimtzum. Echem im akide v'oime shekol hashitas baza hilchem lamokem echem. Nifleisi beyois agam al sal kedaitach gezeh. Befrata shekvoit kvoit erosim chanei b'mechtavi b'shem loim b'tzifrei mekubolim. You say that this man who's saying this thing is learning Safarim of Kabbalah? Are you joking? Kipshita she'ene ken klal uklal. V'oi bedoire rishon she'acher arizal shu gilelonu so that tzimtzum hoye binyan at tzimtzum chaluk days ben balei teresin mina kotze ela kotze kenide b'sifreim v'nimshech machloikes gamachekach. Who b'shnei inyanim ikni? The Rebbe says, I'll lay it down. There's the machloikes is about two basic points. Number one, imat tzimtzum is kipshuta or lav. Did it happen kipshuta or not? What does it mean, kipshuta or lav? Kipshuta is siluk or yehelam. Siluk means kipshuta. Moved it all on the side. Helam means a camouflaged it. It's here, but you don't see it. Second question is, imat tzimtzum urak ba'oir agam b'mor. Ve'efsher bazeh dalu chitas. Well, if you have two issues, when you have two things like this, you could twist it in four ways. There's only four ways to twist it. Number one, atzimtzum, ipshuti, v'gam ba'atzmus. Sometimes when you learn a sugya in the Gemara, and you think, there's there's two things. Okay, there's four ways of learning it. And then you start learning the Rishonim. Rashi learns one way, Tosfos learns the second way, the Rashba learns the third way, and the Ritva learns the fourth way. They say, wow, 16. Then there's more things that come in, then there could be 16 or 24 ways. The Rebbe says, Efshab is a dalet shittas. Number one, at Tzimtzum is kipshutui, v'gam ba'atzmus. V'rayas ha-soivrim came, the Eichev Shalom ba'ed ha-melech, the Eibish himself, nimtza b'mokom ha'ashpach haz v'shalom. It's a bezoin to say that. Number two, that at Tzimtzum is taka kipshutui, aval rak be'or. Number three, at Tzimtzum is the lo kipshutui, aval gam ba'mor. Number four, at Tzimtzum is the lo kipshutui, v'rak be'or. V'hine, ha-misnagdim b'dmei ha-merezokin, ochazu b'shita alef, kiyadu, v'hoi mefashim leis asar ponim minei, haina mashgachosei. When the Zoya says leis asar ponim minei, v'leis machshava tvisa bei, what does it mean leis asar ponim minei? Davish is hashgach. But Davish himself is not present in every inch of this world. V'omru, asher shita da'atzmus nimtza b'chol mokem isoteres ladin in the mevoas mefutunofim v'chulu v'chulu. If in the street that has human waste, I'm not allowed to say Ashri and Volitzian. How could you say Achutz B'Davish himself is there? Now the Alter Rebbe says just the opposite. It turns out on his head. Ashri and Volitzian is oil. So it's a contradiction. It's holy, and this is human waste. They don't go together. It's not a shidduch. So it's also to say Ashri Volitzin on Mavos Mutunov. But the Eibish himself, there's no contradiction. The Eibish himself, the Tinuf and the Eibish himself is not a contradiction. But they didn't understand it that way. All the Pashkvilim they did against the Baal Shem Tov and that Marizok and Yurin Gamkin Shari Yichud Vamuna. Shita is Bamachabe Sefer Nefesh HaChaim. Shemaske Kvoite Rosa B'Mechtavi, who Shita Gimel Anal. V'cholok Bazal Rabbi HaGra. The emissaries that Reb Chaim Volozhina disagrees with his Rebbe, the Gra. The Gra seemed to hold like the first way, that Tzimtzum, when the Arizal said Tzimtzum, he meant Kipshutai, and also meant in the oil and the moil. And he didn't think that way because Chas v'Shalom to denigrate, to be Maila the Eibishter. He thought that this was a Maila, not a Chisonim. Still, the Reb Chaim holds like the third opinion. But B'Chlal Nida, Shero Reb Chaim Mevaloshin Sifri Chabad, B'Frat Sefer Atanya V'Nishpa Behem. Av She'eni Yedea Zeh B'Chochas Gemuras. Wow. The Rebbe says, in general, I know he was influenced, Nishpa. He was influenced by learning Chassidus and especially Tanya. I can't bring you proof black and white, but the Rebbe says by learning Nefesh, if you learn Nefesh HaChaim, you could see. What happened was that the Tanya had a very strong effect. Everyone that was a thinker was learning Tanya, and the Misnagdim was scared that all the thinkers are going to go, what's going to happen. So they impressed upon the Nefesh HaChaim he should write a Musa Sefer that will a little put some counterbalance to the Tanya. Reb Chaim didn't just write a Musa Sefer in a vacuum. He learned first the Tanya well, and he learned.
Quote the Tanya at all.
I don't know. But the Rebbe says that if you learn the Nefesh HaChaim,
Oh, it's kind of Slavic though.
the Rebbe says that if you learn the Nefesh HaChaim, you will see that he was influenced by the Tanya. So therefore, he moved. He moved away from the Shita Aleph, but he never got to Shita Dalet. He came to Shita Gimel. He said that Tzimtzum is the loike pshutei, but equally in the oir and the moir. Aval onu ein loner la kishita Dalet anal she'ena Tzimtzum kipshutei. V'gam zeh loy b'moir ala b'oir. V'rak b'pchina tachtoina she'b'oir shelifnei Tzimtzum. Even in the oir, the Tzimtzum was only in the lower level of the oir, not in the higher level of the oir. Shelifnei Tzimtzum. And this is what we're going to explore in today's Maimer. Yeah. As a mashal Rebbe Omer, it's a lo shayach. The whole idea that the Alter Rebbe said that rationally doesn't make sense. Something that could be big, you can make small. Something can be small, you can make big. If you could have Gilur or Helam is an oil. But the more the Alter Rebbe said is nonsensical. How could you say Gilur or Helam? It's more, it's not oil. Okay, but that was the Alter Rebbe's opinion. Turn the page. The Rebbe gives a whole bunch of Maramakaimis where to look. Okay? At next letter.
לנו זה חב"ד או לנו זה the bottom line for everyone? אבל לנו אין לנו אלא
It's a good question. I think you gave the answer in your question. It's a very good point. מה זה לנו? לנו זה לכל כלל ישראל. לנו זה כל כלל ישראל.
Hashem, definitely. אין לנו שיטות, no? Each time,
Okay, look at how you learn. What's on
אין לנו בן אברהם.
Turn the page. There's another letter here. The Rebbe usually is not so descriptive. There's more like, the Rebbe is more abstract than a lot of sikhs, not poetic. This is a letter that I've never seen something like it. The Rebbe writes to a person like this: let a man think. If this minute he could meet up with Admor Azokin, the Baal Shem Tov, the Arizal, the Rajbi Beisa Idre, the Bakiva Beis Dorshe, the Maisa Merkava, Kohen Gadol, Kamoshe Bekodesh Kadosh, Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom, Berege Matan Torah. So imagine.
Look at the Rebbe vision.
Right. Imagine you could hold the hand of the Kohen Gadol and walk in with him to the Kodesh HaKadoshim, or if Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom would invite you to go up with him to Har Sinai. Imagine. Or you're standing with the Rebbe Akiva when the Gemara says there was Dorish B'maisa Merkava, or when the Reb Shimon Bar Yochai was saying the Idra. Imagine. Okay, sounds exciting already. Haloi. Loi hoya loi shum tfisas makim u'metzias kwal. It's not a question that if you were standing in front of Moshe Rabbeinu right now, by Noichi, that now you wouldn't go like this to jab another Jew, chas v'shalom, right? If the Eibush is right in front of you, obviously that you would lose all sense of yourself. You would lose your identity, not in a negative way, in a positive way, right? You come into the room, you're shy, you're ashamed. Why? Why are you shy? What are you shy about? What are you ashamed? Do what the Eibush gave you a job to do. Do what? Why are you ashamed? Why are you scared? Why are you timid? You know why people are timid? Because they feel they're self-conscious. If you juk, why do people sometimes take a l'chaim? You take a l'chaim too, you lose a little bit as things get a little loose. You lose a little bit, you forget who you are, what secrets you're trying to hold, what kind of stories you're trying to cook. And a little bit of yourself comes out. Could you imagine if you were standing in front of the Eibishter B'Shas Anoichi right next to Moshe Rabbeinu? If you were in the Kodesh HaKadoshim with the Kohen Gadol, if you were with Rebbe Akiva when he was Dorish B'maisa Merkava, how you would lose totally. You would never, you to say, I'm scared. Scared? Scared of what? Scared. I'm ashamed. I'm frightened. I don't know if I could do it. Are you kidding? If you would lose your whole metzius, and that's I want to explain what does it mean. Usually we're taking chassidus bittul, so people associated with hashmata or yukel. Sorry, I'm using plain language. Bittul we associate with yukel. Yukel and bittul are not even first cousins. There's no connection between them. There's no connection between them. A person who's truly bottle is a person that's never scared. He never has anxiety. He never has fear. He never has inhibitions to succeed. So that's true bittul. That's true bittul. So if a yid was standing now with Moshe Rabbeinu Berega Matan Torah, haloi hoyeloi shum tfisas moken umetzias klal. V'hinei bo Torah sachasidus aposka agapasken tadin she'ein atzimtzum ela be'or v'loi chas v'sholem b'moer. V'hamor nimtza ata poim mamish k'moishu nimtza b'kodesh hakadoshim when the coin went in b'olam asiyah or b'rega matan Torah l'Sinai or b'olam atzilus with the Rashbi b'olam eitzav kloish lifnei tzimtzum erishin sha'ored ein seif v'malas kol ha'metzias. So now you're gonna ask. Now that's the answer. You're gonna ask, what difference is it if you hold Shita Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet? What's an Afkamina? The main thing is Hashem is there, Hashem is there, Hashem is really everywhere, up, down, down, heaven, all around. What's an Afkamina? Hold Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet. There's huge an Afkamina. If the Mo'or that never had a tzimtzum, the Mo'or never had a tzimtzum at all. In the Oir, there's a tzimtzum, even that Shaloi Kipshutik. But the Mo'or is here. So could you imagine? So really, in the level of Oir, there's a difference between me and Moshe Rabbeinu in the moment of Matan Torah. But in the level of Mo'or, there's no difference. Different perspective on life. I'm nervous. How am I going to pay my bills? What am I going to do? How am I going to? This guy is this. What am I going to do with this guy? What am I going to do with that guy? What to do? Inhibitions. Not shaykh. I'm scared. I'm ashamed. Not shaykh. Bittul b'metzias in front of the Eibishter. That's what happens when a chosed lives with this notion that tzimtzum never happened. The Mo'or is here and there. Hashem is here. Hashem is there. Hashem is truly everywhere. That's the nafkamina of Shita Aleph Beis Gimel Vadalat. Okay. Now we can learn the mind.
You say the tzimtzum never happened in the Mar.
In the Mo'or, it never happened. Yeah.
Well, you said something about bladder. You meant that
allegory. Yeah. I meant that there's no machlokes. You know that he thought it was okay. With this exactly. Oh, you're listening here because we're learning now about the Goinim and Abin Tam. So that's why I'm like, yeah, you're good. Ken. I bet Lord Mashim. Okay.
So how did Reb Dessler take this?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Do you know if Reb Dessler quotes the Tanya and nothing else?
I know there's another letter where the Rebbe writes to him or to the Veitcha saying that I would have expected a little more sources in Melio.
And the four opinions, are they all
It's Vekitzer. The Rebbe says that this is
how many?
Who holds which? I don't know.
No, in the Zohar, Rishima Bar Yochai.
No, this started 500 years ago. That Israel was Megala, the Indian of Tzimtzum.
So the Zohar doesn't.
No,
okay. All right.
Starts with that Israel. It starts with that Israel. Okay. אני לא יודע. אבל לא בעניין הצמצום. אריזל, אני לא בקיא בקבולה. אני יודע מה שכתב פה, שאריזל גילה את הצמצום. אז אני לא יודע.
מה הוא כתב על העניין הזה?
מה הוא כתב? בחזרה? אני לא יודע.
לא בחזרה, מה הוא כתב לרבי לכתחילה?
Oh, he thought that there's no machlokes. Everyone meant the same thing. I don't know exactly what he wrote, how he thought so, but okay. Basi Legani Achrisikalo. Maybe. What? No, say, L'chaim. You know what? The we can say L'chaim, we can warm up the atmosphere, and you can say the word of Basi. Page Yud.
This is the first one that I said.
Page Yud. Page Yud.
You're one. You're 15.
Yeah.
Not you're one if you're 15.
So give to Rabbi Malki. Yeah.
No. So
No, what's the first one?
Pass it to Moshe. Maybe Moshe wants. Moshe will have a little bit of L'chaim.
later.
I'll have a little bit of L'chaim.
15 years you said this one. Oh.
L'chaim. Benchi, you'll have L'chaim. So pass the Benchi. Here's from Moshe.
Yes.
Here's for me.
Yes.
L'chaim.
Yeah, all the ICs.
Yes.
The Rebbe starts saying the
No, thank you.
So we said to the Rebbe repeated different
Yes.
ICs.
Yeah, every year he would say one.
But the first one the Rebbe says is Basi.
Okay, let's hear. Gesagt er about Legani.
You said, you know that.
No. Say.
The Rebbe Institute, Hitas and Rambam. And in the word Basi Legani, the first word the Rebbe says is Basi, the word base Aleph Tap Yud, you see the Rambam and Hitas. How? Base is voice, Bereshis, Chumash. Aleph, ad the Tilim Shtar, Asher Reish. Reish, Tov, Tanya. So you have Hitas.
Wow.
And Yud, Rambam Shtar, Yisrael Yisrael.
Cool. Very nice.
Nice.
Put in the first letter,
Nice.
the Rambam.
Not only that,
L'chaim.
how many years did the Rebbe live? Legani, yeah. Davis.
I don't know. You tell me.
Legani's 93, right? The Rebbe passed away.
Oh wow. Never. L'chaim. Wow. Show me. You're good. L'chaim. Basi Legani Chosikalo. Maybe Bala Hilula Maimer Medrash. The Medrash says, Basi Legani to my garden. Means it's already my garden before I got there. That means it was always my garden. This world was always the Eibish's garden. Legnuni l'makom shayikri betchila, pikar shchina betachtonim hoysav akach hine ha'odem ha'idei chet etzadah silikas ha'shchina min ha'oretz la'arkiv akach b'derech sh'akach sh'avra l'tzivi Hashem v'nistalka ha'shchina merakia l'rakia ha'shvi v'akach bo tzadikim ha'v'solim v'ridas ha'shchina merakia ha'shvi l'mata ha'shva ha'shvi she'moshe l'ben ha'shkol ha'shvim sh'chavivim v'rida min ha'rakia l'oretz she'zu hoysa ha'kavona she'tachz ha'shchina that there was 7 Ishoim that chased away the Shechina from heaven to heaven until the final, the 7th Rasha, who chased it away all the way to the 7th heaven. And then came 7 Tzaddikim that brought back the Shechina. Avram brought it back 1 heaven, 2 heaven, 3 heaven, until Moshe Rabbeinu, which brought it back into the earth. Huh? No, whatever, same thing. Yeah. Tzaddikim, means that they're make the Shechina come into the world. Tzaddikim, their avodah, they make that the Eibishter's glory should be revealed in the whole world. It's a light, which is an awesome light, which is b'chol alma b'shava. The koyel oyer asev kol alma b'sheva b'chol alma b'shava. V'even shel establik v'zom. Mashkos avos l'mikdash v'chante b'toichem. Da'ene b'mishkan l'mikdash v'gam b'toichem b'toich kolach v'echem Yisrael. Shmeila shmashkinim hainu mamshichim shkanos yizbarach l'mata. Shazon yishkin ol adala. That tzaddikim make the Shechina come into the world, and every Yid is a tzaddik. Amech kulam tzaddikim. We're not talking about the tzaddikim in Tanya over here. We're talking about every Yid. Amech kulam tzaddikim. Every Yid is a tzaddik. So every Yid is called a tzaddik because he brings the Shechina into this world. He makes a dir b'tachtonim. Mamshich levar shinyan avoda b'mishkan b'mikdash shinyan b'lifel shiyah v'shchantu inyan ha'karbonos b'aktoyde shinyan hu. The main avodah bringing the Shechina down has to do with avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Yonim hu k'mayim roza de korban ha'ola ad roza de Ein Sof. The Zohar says that the secret of the korban goes all the way up to Ein Sof. Lachas anasa inyan the nachas ruach. The korban has two effects. It brings up, it elevates, and it brings down. נחס רוח שמרתם ונעשה רצון שנהם שוף למטה, וזהו גם מה שמשכנם עצה שיתם, כמו שכתוב בסיסס הקרשה ומשכן עצה שיתם, הם להם כשיתם לא שטוס, כיס ומדרש, כמו שצורך להפך את השטוס, דאוילם לעצמן הקרשה ומשכן. כמו גם באופן קרש, which is the word, if you spin the letters, it's sheker. Heinish mesheker oilam, oisim krashim lamishkan. You have to take the falsehood of the world, turn it into crush on the Mishkan. It's like beams. Beams take the upper floor and lower floor and bring them together. That the Yid Avodah is to make crushim, to make beams that connect the heaven and the earth, to bring heaven down to earth and to pick up the earth to heaven. The Kedushas is Avodah Shalamayla Metam Vadas. Avodah Zanasa the Bnei Shlikir Shem Tzivis Hashem. This is a redux of all the, of the whole Basi Legani, that a person has to take the shtus of the world and turn into shtus the kedusha. Tomorrow night, we need the 6 to 7, can't make Kiddush anyway, and the Rebbe said that on the day of the Yortzeit, the Frierdiker Rebbe, we should learn the first 5 chapters in the Maimer. So Bli Neder, at 6 o'clock, we will learn the first 3 oises. Shachris, in the beginning of the Kiddush, we'll learn ois 4, and by Shalosh Udas, we'll learn ois 5. Okay. ממשיך לבאי בעמק יועצה מה שישראל נקרא בשם צבס השם שיני הצובה של יוד מיופלוצס במלחום על הנצח ואירנו בחוסד הארץ שיני הצוות נגיע למעלה ביסו ביסו ושכל הארץ יציין מה שעוצה בעצם מה שעוצה הביסו שנקורם כל כך שאפילו ממעלה נסו לחצים שם שבאים בשפון צריך למחום כסייח המלך הצוצרסים וזבז וזויסה שמייסה לתקי החייל ושל עד שמלחומה צבס השם כדי שנצח במלחומה. We say that the Yidna called Hashem's army, and we see that the kings throughout history, whenever there was a war, whatever was in the treasures, just to win the war. As they say, in order to win the war, you need 3 things. What are the 3 things? Money, money, and money. The reason why George Washington was able to have a victory, Tazoi, because of Zapoila Shayidala, who loaned him a tremendous amount of money. Chaim Solomon, exactly. Chaim Solomon.
Where's the money?
And that was never repaid. It was never ever repaid.
So we should get reparations.
Exactly. Yeah. No, he was a Frumayid. No, Chaim Solomon was a Frumayid. Oh, he wasn't Heimish from Borough Park. He didn't eat yapchik. But I don't think it was Sfardi. No, I think it was Ashkenazi Dafka. The early settlers here, true, that came off the boat when Mr. Stuyvesant said, no, they're not coming into New York. Those were Taka Svardim. But that's 200 years before that. Chaim Solomon was a Polish Yid, and he was not Chas Shom reform or anything.
One of the Duke of Tel Aviv was Chaim Solomon. The Duke of Tel Aviv. Chaim Solomon. Something else, nothing to do.
Love it. In Oitze Lamaila Makta Mashkosu Bezoyer Betkuni Zoyer Oire in Sof Lamaila Den Kates Lamata Mata Den Tachlis. What's the heavenly treasure? So the Zoyer says this expression Oir Ein Sof Lamaila Ad Ein Kates Ulamato Ad Den Tachlis. Kvisha Messiah Lachas Lamaila Den Kates in Oitze. They love him Barchov Bam Guz Goydel in the Lamaila Den Kates Mavar Besif Makoidin Goydel in the Lamata Den Tachlis. והוא בבחינס הספשס ובבחינס אינסוף על למטה, באיפה שבכל מקום שנמשך גם למטה מטה, הרי באיפה של אינסוף, שזה מוי לגוד לעניין. אחרי זה מצח לבר, עניין למעלה דין קיץ, שזה עניין ניילי יוסם אשר עניין למטה דין תכלס. ולאחרי זה מסיים, שזהו עניין האויצר. The Frierdiker Rebbe explains what does it mean lamata adin tachlis, even though the lashon of the Zohar is fakert, lamayla adin kates and then lamata adin tachlis. The Frierdiker Rebbe flips it. He wants to explain first what is lamata adin tachlis, and then you'll understand. That's lamayla adin kates, and that's the treasure. That's the heavenly treasure. The heavenly treasure is oidin sef lamayla adin kates. Allah is the Messiah. She's in it's shafilin is in not chatzava. Leirak ba nesina stam leifer shel bizbus. She's a move. If the Melech is willing to squander all his oitzes, so you know how important it is for the Eibishter that Eden should win this war. Win this godless war, the godless war, to win this war. Okay. Umaschil levai bepet.
In Titus, we learn the Paul says, I'm not like any other king. I'm going to go with you to the war. I'm going to be first, and I'm going to share with you.
Achalik Sholol, yeah.
The clip of that.
Yeah, the bizbuz clip.
The clip.
Yeah, very good. It's talking this week's parsha. Umaschil levai bepet 15. Hine, kishem so from the mata mispashas begil adin shir the misper klal kemoy kein oinen so from mile and kids khines helm oil shbe helm acher helm be ilu yacher ilu khines heder oil ve heder agilu وبقول سنين اتسمتم شبايرين سيبرخو شو is almost oil be skalus batsmus is barch. Okay, his words as of now sound like Chinese. I just went into Kahos, and they have a new print of explanation. I need to feel my prayer. It was a book that written in English, 1942 something Kahos, and they just translated it into Mandarin. You know,
Who reads Mandarin in Chinese?
I don't know. I don't know. Apparently, they're selling it. They're selling it. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. I was just in Kahos.
Wow.
And then I went to pick up these things. Look at this. I just took a picture. Here.
Wow.
And here, a nice cover. See? Nice cover. My prayer. Remember the book My Prayer? This is my prayer. Translated to Mandarin. So to me, these
Chinese.
It's exactly. Sounds like Chinese.
Maybe they also want to know how to pray.
Yeah, for sure. They have to know. They should be my minim. And then Mashiach will come. So before we read inside, so I think so the Rebbe is saying like this. What does it mean? The Eibush is mile aden case. Obviously, the Eibush is that's the idea of the tzimtzum, that the Eibush elevated himself. That Rizal said that in order to be a world, that the Eibush was mitzamtzum himself. Now, the most of the Maimah is going to be how the tzimtzum works, the mechanics of the tzimtzum. But a lot of times when we hear tzimtzum, it's like a dirty word. It's a negative. It's a net negative. That the Eibush, wow, it's like the like Rebbe Tzabaditcheva said, wow, what kind of thing you did. The whole burning Gehenim, you put in a little sefer called Reishes Chachma. The beautiful Gan Eden, you put in also in that tiny sefer. And all the temptations of the world you put out on the table in front of us. And now you expect this to be a good contest? Why don't you do the other way around? All the temptations of the world put in a little book on the shelf. And in front of us, put the beautiful Gan Eden. Then we'll see what kind of contest it is. But the Eibush didn't want it to be that way. The Eibush wanted it to be the other way. So here's the Nakuda. First, I'll explain what does it mean the tzimtzum? What does it mean tzimtzum? At the end of the Maimer, we'll talk about a very interesting point. Marshall, about a Rebbe or a father. The father has a little baby. Yeah? And the father takes the baby and starts playing games. What playing games do you play with the baby? Peekaboo? You ever play peekaboo? Huh? Yeah, why not? So the father can sitzen jetzt lernen Shagasaya. He's a Yida Talmud Chochem, right? And instead, he's playing a little game, peekaboo, with a little baby. Why are you playing peekaboo? Because the father wants to have a relationship with the little boy. If the baby's gonna sit here in the carriage, and the father's learning Shagasaya, there's no relationship. There's no relationship. So he picks up the baby. And he starts playing games with the baby, little childish games, little games. So he's being mitzamtzum. Is the tzimtzum a bad or a good? Is a positive and negative? It's a positive because the father wants to have a relationship with the child. The child can be right next to the father, and the father will be learning for hours on end, but there's no relationship. The Eibishter wants to be mitzamtzim himself, so we have a relationship with him. The Eibishter wanted that there should be a world, and there should be a dira b'tachtoinim. Okay, but the main thing of the tzimtzum is not that there should be a tachtoinim. is that there should be a relationship that we have with the Eibishter. And that's going to be, and that's a pshat, that's a pshat, the Eibishter is Maila Aden Kates. Let's read it inside right after the quote. In your bazar, yeah?
In the Moshe, father is high alone, right? In order to collect the baby, they have to bend down.
Yeah,
when
give
you
him
bend
the,
down, pick up
pick
the
up the
baby.
baby, yeah.
So
And the
when
mimer,
you do that tzimtzum, and then pick up the baby, you can't go down to the baby, he's going to break his back. Pick it up.
pick him up. Yeah,
And even higher than him, then stop playing.
very good. And then and mimer of the Chadoy de Lekaskala, right?
Yes.
Talk about these two Nakudas. Right, exactly. Vinyan Bazeh, the Bishlam and Nagay, Lanyan Doyer in Sof. Lamata, the Taka Zaki, Majority of Betsam, commercial if net some move and good linear Shem Shapos Lamata, Lamata, Shane, Lamata Menu. She's a boyfriend, the ain't tackles, Lagabish, if net Simsa. I've any move him out in Doyer in Sof Lamila than Kates. Hebelava, he nimmt so in Sof, if net Simsa, Mainyana, Yoisel, Mila than Kates. While Zema Vibe, my Shula Mila than Kates. But Finas Helmor, should be Helmacher be Ilu Achilu, which Bechlolis means the idea of Simsa. What's the purpose of the tzimtzum? What's the inyan of the tzimtzum? The Pirush Akosa Bereshis Bora Lakim Esa Shamayim Vesaretz. Such a cool word. It's let's read it inside. It's just such a funny. It's like the Baal Shem Tov. Bereshis Tigum Yonason B'Chochem. It's Aleph. Bereshis means Aleph. Kumashkosav Aleph Chachma. So Bereshis means Aleph. But Sata boy, the Eibishter wrapped himself up like an atalas. He wrapped himself up in the Aleph. Betoich ois Aleph. Ubora oir mean ois Aleph hu oir atzilus. V'achach nesatef im ois Aleph beois beis. Ubora oilam habriya. V'achach chozem nesatef im ois beis. Betoich ois gimel. Ubora oilam es lamatam oilam habriya. At shenesatef beois tof. Ubora oilam es tachtoinim. It's such a play on words. There's Atzilus, there's Bria. Then Tov is Tachten. So from Aleph till Tov, Ace, Beresh is Bora Elikim. Elikim is the idea of Tzimtzum. That Beresh is through Bechukmasa, which through Foch, the Eibishter took the Aleph, and he went from Aleph till Tov. First he was Mitzamtzum himself in a Aleph, and he made Atzilus. Then he was Mitzamtzum himself in a Beis, and he made Bria. Now we don't know what Gimel Dalad. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Till Tov. Tov is Tachtoinim. I don't know. That's just, it works very well. I know. But how does it exactly work? What's Gimel? What's Dalad?
That's what you want to know.
Yeah, but Aleph, Beis, till Tov, and Tov is Tachtoinim. Zeh shekosa Bereishis bar Lakim Eis Shucha Beis min Aleph Atov. ובתויכה רוחניוס is bar shnikte shnemayim shnesat and slabe shkat bar khabetachov bezes elu boris aretz shu kol inyan khamer aretz shu al yedei dalat meis lavushim min aleph atov. There's 400 lavushim from aleph till tov. Why is it 400 lavushim? I haven't seen, but posh the pshat is tov is 400. So from aleph till tov you have 400. Tov is 400. There's no bigger number. In English, doesn't work that way. There's one, there's 10,000, right? A million, a billion, a trillion, right? But in Hebrew, the biggest number is Tov. Tov is 400. So there is 400 levushim. Shehu eretz tachtis shein lamate menu. ואחר כך חוזק הקדוש ברוך הוא ונסתתר בכמה כיסויים בכמה קליפים דעניין חושך ובויו וחושך וטועים וזה שכל סבורת זה חושך ובויו וכל זה נעשה לשם אלוקים בראשית בור אלוקים שעניין הגבור והצמצום וזה מובן שיש להם סוף כלי שבכאילו לפני הצמצום וכפי שמאיר מביא להלם במיימר שאוהר אלים פושט ומלס קלמציס ואחר כך מצמצם ונסלבש אוהר בכמה לבושים. So bottom line is first what the Baal Shem Tov said. Baal Shem Tov said is that the Eivishter made a lot of levushim, and that's the pshat. The Eid stuff is lamay then gates. It's just like lamata mata. The Eibishter was lowered himself to be megal himself The same thing, Lamaila, the Eibishter was Mis'ala, Be'ilui Acher Ilui. He went up and up to make Tzimtzumim, but not for a net negative, for a net positive. For a net positive. And that's the first pasuk in the Torah. The first pasuk in the Torah is telling you the secret of the Tzimtzum and telling you the secret of the purpose of the Tzimtzum. That the Eibishter wanted to have a relationship with the Yid.
אז יוצא מפה שהצמצום הוא למעלה. זאת אומרת, פה יש אור אינסוף, ככה אני מבין. הצמצום הוא למעלה, לא כמו שאנחנו חושבים, צמצום למעלה בשלשלות. ככה...
פה זה מצומצם, ושם זה לא מצומצם. אז like you go like this, you're squeezing it, so then all of a sudden the bottom it's not there, it's all of a sudden only on the top. כאילו נוימה.
אנחנו הבנו כל הזמן שהצמצום מלמעלה למטה. פה הוא אומר שפה האור הוא למטה בגילוי. הצמצום הוא למעלה, כך הוא מסתתר מאיתנו.
בוא נלמוד קצת יותר. ונבין. בוא נלמוד קצת יותר.
כאילו פה אתה מביא את הצמצום.
רייניש. בהלם.
אפשר לכתוב עוד מכתב אליה.
עד כאן, אני לא יודע.
Let's skip a few words because we'll. יש לו איזה בניין הצמצום והלם למעלה den case על פי המבואר בתורה סרב המגיד. ואם זה תורה פרשת בעלויסק על הפוסק עשה לכו שתי חצוצות כסף. קדוש ברוך עושה כמה צמצומים דרך כמה עולמות כדי שיאחדס עם האדם. שלא יוכל לסבול בהירוסי. The Eibishter made the tzimtzum because he wanted to connect and have a achdus with the human being. But without the tzimtzum, the person cannot be soivel the behirus, the whiteness and the glow of this awesome light. V'odem tzarech lifresh es atzmim v'chol hagashmish ad sheyala derech kol oelamas v'yachtas hakadosh baruch hu v'az yikra odom. Ki odom shelamata hu rag dalad mem dibur machshava, which is dam. Shemizdabek b'kadosh baruch hu shaluf v'shalolam nasa odom. Aleph plus dam is odom. The Eibishter is the aleph aluf v'shalodom, and the person is dam dibur machshava. וזהו שתי חצוצות כסף, שעוד מוחת צורה שהוא רג דם, ואלף לבד כביכול הנה לצורה שלמה, אומנם כשהזדבקו יחדיו נעשה צורה שלמה. It says, עשה לך שתי חצוצות כסף. So he says that the pshat is, חצוצות is מלושן חצי. That the Eibishter is כאילו only חצי, and the Yid is only xatzi. And in order to be a Dov Shalom, the Eibishter כאילו is not a Dov Shalom, and the Yid is not a Dov Shalom. And only become a Dov Shalom if the Eibishter and the Yid get together. And the Eibishter couldn't figure out another way to do it without tzimtzum. Like I said before, the baby, I can be sitting and learning Shagasai, and the baby's here, the baby's next to me, but we don't have a relationship. But when I pick up the baby and I start making cooing, and I pick a boo, the Eibishter made now a relationship. Like the father wants to have a relationship. The Eibishter saw that the person couldn't be soivel behirusoi. So the Eibishter made shtei chatzoy tzura, that the Eibishter is aleph and the person is dam, and together is odom. Aleph and the dam together. That movement, afshesh and kamet tzum helach elam. Kol me'enze ba'ifin shoyer eine shayach lamakum shabay misalam, eine shayach l'gilut klal. Aber tachlis hakavon shum shechoyer lamata lamakum ba'nim tzadam. Ba'ifin shalisachtas shetifel ba'ifin pnimi. And Shadam et Sadatz Rag Dam Yishber Durchbrechen. It's called Agash Mishaloi. Is Allah Memata Lamaila Chischaber Makadosh Baruch Hu. Is Allah Falu Shaloi Lambaev Shalachtos Zurich Lema. When the Rebbe is explaining Durchbrechen, the Rebbe is explaining that the person thinks just like the Eibishter was mitzamtzim himself in order to get close to me, I should be mitzamtzim myself in order to come close to the Eibishter. What does it mean I'm mitzamtzim? What does it mean I'm mitzamtzim? What is it? I'm in a mood of sleeping now. I'm not in the mood of waking up to say Tehillim. I'm mitzamtzim myself. I rip myself out of bed. I'm in a mood of reading a book right now. I'm not in the mood of right now of learning 3 Parokim or Rambam or Chumash Rashi. I'm not in the mood. So I'm mitzamtzim myself. I'm breaking through all the klippas. Just like the Eibush is mitzamtzim himself to come close to me, I'm mitzamtzim myself to come close to the Eibishter. The Pashtup Pshat...
Opposite, you're modeling yourself? You're raising yourself to come close to Hashem?
But it's a union of a tzimtzum. Because
How,
it's
Then
tzimtzum. He's
how
metzamtzum.
is it a physical?
He's metzamtzum.
Physical desire.
He's
Oh.
metzamtzum.
Oh, all right.
He's
When
metzamtzum.
Ruchnis don't want Gashmis.
He's
He doesn't
metzamtzum.
want
That I
to get it.
understand.
So the emes is there's a few nekudas. What would the Maggid? First of all, the Maggid is explaining a little better the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, that the purpose of the tzimtzum is not for the tzimtzum; it's for the having a relationship. Just like a father wants to have a relationship with the baby, so he's metzamtzum himself to play a game with the baby. So the Baal Shem Tov says the nekuda, and the Maggid is a little bit moisef in the word. We'll leave it at this point. We'll leave it at this. So as of now, what we learned is that what is Oirein Sof Lamayla Mayla Adain Kates? It's the secret of the tzimtzum. So we started with later in the mind we took what the tzimtzum is. We started the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid that the tzimtzum is not a dirty word, not a bad thing. It's a net positive. Just like a father wants to have a relationship with the baby, so he stops learning a Shagas Arya and he starts playing peekaboo. The Eibishter is playing with us peekaboo. So the Eibishter is metzamtzim himself in order to get close to us. So this gives a koyach to the person to be metzamtzim himself in order to break through the klippas in order to come close to the Eibishter. And Mitzvah Shem Shabbos morning, we're going to continue. We're holding now Ois Gimel. We're holding Ois Gimel. And the Ois Gimel is where it gets juicy in Ois Gimel. It gets really juicy in Ois Gimel. I must tell you, I read through the Maimah a few times. It sounded to me less legible than this book I just showed to you in Chinese. But then Health the Eibishter was in 770, and this was 2-3 weeks ago, and I sort of Mechol Golem walk in with a big box. He works very hard every year. He spends a few months, and he prints a thing called Maimet Oruch. So I'm just telling you right now, where's the secret of my understanding of the Maimet. Anything I didn't understand, I totally didn't understand the word in this Maimet. But now that I read through it, I think I understand a little bit. So whatever I'm explaining is based on Rabbi Golem's explanation of the Maimed. As I said, really from Ois Gimel is where it starts getting very juicy and very geschmack about what the whole tzimtzum is. The Shabbos morning, 9 o'clock, we're going to learn about this, and if anything is left, we'll finish it off by Shabbos by Mincha. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, we're learning the Friedeke Rebbe's Maimed. Friedeke Rebbe's Maimed is very geschmack and very avoidic. Not complex. It's very about the Rebbe Shmuel Bar Nachmoni that was dancing in front of the Kala, and he said the Hanale Shtus L'Saba, the Shtus that he was dancing in front of the Kala brought down an unbelievable level of kedusha. At 9:30 in my house, we're gonna have a Fabrengen. We're gonna a Friday night. Yes, we're gonna have the world's best kugel in my house. I'm getting a Mitzvah Shem David Malka kugel straight out of the oven.
It's under the refund,
Yeah. Another piece of kugel. So and then in Mitzvah Shem will continue the Fabrengen Shabbos by day. David shall help, and we should go from Fabrengen to the Fabrengen of Sukkot Shel of Yos and Bevias Mashiach Tzidkeinu. L'chaim.
You want this, right?
If anyone might not be and they want to take home the book, I have plenty of books. So if you want to take it with you, you could take it with you. If you want to leave it here, you can leave it here.
Rabbi?
Thank you, Rabbi.
I assume that goes to the whole life of a person, but it's adjusted so that the 3-year-olds on this level,
A 100-year-old Yid is like a 3-year-old baby.
So
Yes.
that even if the person is an adult and he's a Tamachachim and he learns
He thinks he's an adult.
Shagazarieh,
So the Rebbeinu